Helldivers 2 is arguably the best cooperative shooter to come out in 2024, and it's my strong belief that the goats behind Arrowhead Studios not only wanted to create a game that was actually designed to be fun, but a game to save all of modern gaming entirely. Here's why I think Helldivers 2 can do just that. Helldivers 2 is a third-person shooter where the core objective of the game is attrition, but with objectives tied into it so players are not just running around and killing anything that has more than 2 legs. Players will have to team up into fire teams comprised of 4 and complete all primary objectives within the session's time limit in order to extract. But wait, there is more. There are side objectives that players can complete also in order to obtain a better ranking in the game, and with better rank comes with more experience points and in-game currency called super credits, to which the players can spend on their own volition for better armor, weapons, and stratagems, which I will get into more later. When players complete the basic training course, they are ready to dive straight into hell by going on their first mission. The game doesn't really hold players' hands after this point, and it's up to the individual behind the keyboard or controller on where to go to next, and how they want to adjust their playstyle in terms of weaponry, armor, etc. The best way that I can explain this is in my own terminology. Don't fret, I will translate this for y'all. After basic training, you can access the map on the bridge of your ship, which shows you that the galaxy is at war with 2 factions. The automatons, which are self-aware cyborgs, and an alien insect species called the Terminids. It's up to the player to decide on where to start from there. On the map, players can see the planets the Helldivers are already trying to liberate, planets that have been liberated planets that need to be defended against enemy counterattacks, and planets that have the need to be liberated ASAP, also known as a general order. By selecting the planet the player wants to go to, it looks like that it can get confusing from the symbols to the level difficulty and whatnot, so I'll explain that as well. If players want to join a session which is already started, they just need to hover over the map to find a diamond/dot shaped icon that has a player ID on it and can tell you whether or not the game session is full, and you can join right in. Keep in mind that you are joining a game that has already commenced, so the game might have just gotten started, or the players joined right at extraction, which has happened to me multiple times when I first started playing. If players who are just starting want to do that, it's a good way to get your feet wet, but keep in mind of the difficulty. For those that want to start a fresh game, just hover over the planet and look for an icon with the Helldiver symbol, i.e. the triangle with the skull, or death from above, and this will create a new game session in which you are the host, and random players or friends can join off of you. If you are starting off at level 1, you are trapped behind level 1 difficulty until you complete a set. Pause right here. This is where my terminology comes into play, so bear with me. The level you have selected will give you 3 missions to undertake. It can range anywhere from search and destroy mission, launching an ICBM missile, or defending an area from waves of enemies. After completing all 3 levels on that area of the planet, the player will have completed a set, which gives the players more rewards from XP, super credits, and medals, which I will get into later on. Once the player completes a set, a new difficulty is unlocked, and you can move on to that difficulty for better rewards, but with more challenging gameplay. Off the cuff already, this game is stupidly fun. The weapons feel great, the stratagems are a beautiful but deadly get out of jail free card. The armor sets look great, the enemy types are fun to mess around with and just blast. Just everything about this game so far just screams, gee, I don't know, fun. If you have stuck with this video so far, we will be moving on with the next parts in a jiffy. So grab a nice warm cup of honey lemon liberty and enjoy what I have in store next. Helldivers 2 takes place in a futuristic utopia where Earth and all of its former governments have united to become one. One nation, one world, one Super Earth. Super Earth is under the control of managed democracy where the civilians of Super Earth are at war with 2 factions who do not grasp the concept of freedom, the automatons and the Terminids.
But freedom doesn't come free.
No! Sweet liberty! No!
Super Earth civilians can do their part to combat these foes and spread democracy throughout the galaxy by joining the Helldivers. Infantry-based soldiers who drop from the skies armed with the best weapons Super Earth has to offer. And not only do these troopers carry the hopes and dreams of everyone on Super Earth, big guns and an assortment of other heavy weapons called stratagems, but they also have capes. I mean, how else can you spread democracy without a good old cape? Oh, freedom never looked so good. Okay, in all seriousness, the guns, stratagems, and heavy satire woven story are the reasons why I picked this game up, and even more why I enjoy it so much. More on that later, but the bread and butter is the weapons that Super Earth has cooked up for us to utilize on the battlefield. You have your standard projectile-based rifles and shotguns, energy-based weapons, and even heavier weapons like machine guns, anti-material rifles, rocket launchers, railguns, the list goes on. And if all those kinds of weapons fail, you could drop the equivalent of a tactical nuke on your foes. You can unlock more weapons and stratagems once you're on board your ship. To do so, you need to upgrade the ship with your standard credits. There you can use a multitude of in-game credits after completing missions to purchase more stratagems, weapons, or perks that allow the deployment of your stratagems to be cooled down faster. To do so, you need to upgrade the ship with your standard credits and 3 types of samples that you collect on the ground during the mission: common samples, rare, and super samples. Be warned, super samples can only be found on higher difficulties, so if you are just starting off, stock up on all the common and rare samples you can before spending any until you finally earn some super samples. Now, super credits are different from normal credits, as for these can only be collected in 3 ways. 1, by finding them on the ground during your mission in secret areas, buying them with microtransactions in the superstore. Yeah, I know, I said microtransaction, hear me out though. Or you could spend your medals, which is the 3rd form of currency, in your war bond section of the menu to buy more super credits. I'd recommend saving the super credits because if you save up enough, you can actually buy the next war bond that you want without breaking out your credit card, but it is a grind to do so. Lastly, medals. These can be obtained in 4 ways only: by completing multiple sets or missions, finding them on the ground in secret areas, participating in a major order, which can reward you handsomely, or completing a personal order. Pretty much it's like a daily challenge for players to do for some easy medals to earn. Like mine was to kill 100 enemies with a flamethrower.
Say hello to democracy!
Boy, did this give me some Vietnam flashbacks. Once you acquire a decent amount of medals, you can access the war bond section of the menu. And here is where you can buy more weapons, armor, and perks for your Helldiver. And I have to admit, this game is a grind, but not the kind of grind where I want to yeet my frickin' PC out the 3rd floor of my apartment window. Helldivers has mission-related content that is not locked behind bogus microtransactions that plague modern games today. You have people out there that are spending their hard-earned cash on a $70 game, only for them to find out that if they want more out of that $70 game, they need to pay an extra $30 to $80 for it. Looking at you, Star Wars outlaws. Helldivers 2, on the other hand, is only $40, and with that you have the ability to earn more war bonds by actually playing the game instead of having to bust out the wallet and cry profusely in the process. However, if people do want to spend the money and get those war bonds, more power to them. But for a game and its respected company that are giving me the option to either buy it outright or earn it by actually playing the fucking game, I have mad respect for y'all 100%. It's pretty obvious to all of us who play the game, even the director of the game saying it outright, that Helldivers is a love letter to one of my favorite movies of all time, the 1997 sci-fi action movie Starship Troopers. Starship Troopers is not only a bug-splattering good time of a film, but at the time of its release, the hidden messages behind it were so misunderstood that it apparently didn't do too great at the box office, but has since gained a cult following. And of course, with the release of Helldivers 2, Starship Troopers has had a resurgence in popularity. But before I get too far, we have to go all the way back in the beginning, a trip through time if you will, because without this important piece of literature, we wouldn't have the games and movies we all know and love today. We go to the year of 1959. An author by the name of Robert Heinlein publishes a little sci-fi military book called Starship Troopers. Now, I love and have read this book religiously, and the whole entire reason why the book got so much attention was not really because of a compelling story, but by the controversy that was unearthed from the book's content. You see, the setting of the book is in a futuristic world where society is formed under one banner, the Terran Federation, much like we see in Super Earth and Helldivers, but the world in both the book, movie, and I guess in this case game adaptation too, is controlled by a militaristic fascist reign. So much so that there is a divide between the populace, and that division is comprised of 2 groups, citizens and civilians. What's the difference, Snotrack? Glad you asked, folks. In both the book and movie, there are civilians and citizens. Civilians are, in the best way to sum it up, people who just live in the society and don't really have any other additional roles than just pay taxes and do what they're told. Meanwhile, a citizen holds a higher status in the society and even has the right to vote, in which civilians do not. The only way that a civilian can become a citizen of the Federation and exercise the right to vote is by doing mandatory military service. Now, when this book was published, the hellfire of controversy came with it, because this is only after a few years post World War II. You see where I'm going with this? Anyway, let me cook. To sum up the book, if Heinlein was told to write a political essay by his college professor, Starship Troopers is what would be handed into class the next day, with the whole premise of an intergalactic war between an alien species called the Arachnids attempting to camouflage itself from what the book's messages entail.
But Snotrack, you said that it was an important piece of literature. How can you say that when the book promotes fascism, you pig?
Well, allow me to explain myself. It was Robert Heinlein who pioneered mech suits, heads-up displays, and terminology that we see in games, movies, and television shows all the time. time. If Heinlein didn't publish Starship Troopers, we would have never seen likes of games like Halo, television shows like the Gundam series. Shit, how much you want to bet Star Wars might not have happened if it wasn't for Starship Troopers being published? To further illustrate my point, if anyone remembers the movie Aliens from 1986, the cast who were to betray the Colonial Marines in the film were all required to read Starship Troopers before filming even began. Even terminology from the book makes its appearance in the film.
Is this going to be a stand-up fight, sir, or another bug hunt?
Bug hunt. What exactly are we dealing with here?
So yeah, if Heinlein didn't publish this book, we would have never have gotten the 1997 film we know and love, and we would never have gotten Helldivers. But, and that's a big capital but, Helldivers 2 takes its inspiration from the movie adaptation, but the movie deviates so far from the book. It's true, because the director of the film, Paul Verhoeven, wanted to make a movie that he wanted to make. Not only that, the man literally stopped reading the book only after a few chapters, and it actually worked. You see, Verhoeven wanted to make the film, but he did so by making the film nothing but a satire of what a world would be like if Heinlein's vision of a federation like he described in the book came to life. And what better person to satire a fascist world than someone who actually grew up and survived it? That's right, Paul Verhoeven actually grew up in Nazi-occupied Holland. He even satires the world even further with bits of propaganda that you see in the film, much like we do in Helldivers 2. Bonus fact, the opening propaganda scene in Starship Troopers is almost a direct shot-for-shot recreation of the Nazi propaganda film Triumph of the Will, directed by Leni Riefenstahl. Yeah, that's right, it was directed by a woman. So Helldivers and Starship Troopers the film are great pieces of political satire that it makes me actually laugh. I'm not kidding. I giggled like a schoolboy when the opening cinematic played in Helldivers 2, not only because of the dark political messages that the game was trying to deliver, but on how well the game satires Heinlein's original work and Verhoeven's film adaptation of Starship. You see, a game like this that doesn't take itself seriously and was just designed to be fun and funny at the same time are an even better reason why an escape from reality such as Helldivers and Starship Troopers means so much to me and to so many fans of both the game and the movie. But wait! There's more. Casper Van Dien, Johnny fucking Rico himself, has a keen interest in the game and has been very outspoken on how well done the game is in regards to it looking like a lot of fun, but also on him acknowledging how well this game can be a direct cousin to Starship Troopers itself. Okay, hang on. Can we just take a moment to let this absolute stud know he has aged like the finest Italiano wine on the planet? I mean, I'm straight, but I definitely hit.
Ha! Gay!
Anyway, so a game that's derived from a controversial book and movie adaptation makes an amazingly addictive game? What are the odds? Alrighty then. This section of my video I dread doing, but at the same time, it is 2024 and the internet. I mean, deadass, I could sneeze and someone watching this video will find it offensive. Solution? Easy. You don't like what I'm about to talk about? That's fine. Everyone has the freedom to agree or disagree with me. However, I am open to discussions in the comments section to anyone who have evidence to the contrary about what we have going on in the world of online gaming, and most importantly, this gem of a game, Helldivers 2. Helldivers 2 is a sci-fi cooperative political satirical shooter. God damn, try saying that 5 times fast. And of course, with almost every single game that comes out nowadays, it's met with criticism and a little dash of controversy. The things I'm going to be talking about, yeah, I almost don't want to do this, but what's the point in making this damn video if I don't do it? Okay, here we go. A while ago, Helldivers 2 was being criticized by the LGBTQ community by not having any representation in the game. Now hold up. It's actually canon that this deck officer has a wife on Super Earth. So there's a multitude of inclusion in the game already. You see, when I play Helldivers, I don't see white, black, Hispanic, Asian, gay, straight, trans, or whatever letter on the alphabet people want to identify themselves as these days. Nah, fam. I see a patriotic super citizen. But that's not all. Not just the LGBTQ community, but countless others wanted more representation inside the game. A huge one was having the capes come in the LGBTQ flag color scheme, and other countries' flags thrown into the mix also. Yeah, this is the part where I say, fuck no. Video games are supposed to be an escape from reality. We have so many horrible things going on in the real world right now. From wars, civil unrest, higher taxes, Joe Biden, the list goes on and on. And for someone who is fed up with nothing but bad news floating around the internet and TV, I for one like to just channel that out and hop on my PC to get away from it all. Video games are a form of an escape, and I absolutely despise huge gaming corporations capitalizing on anything they can get their grummy little hands on and shoving those kinds of unwanted messages down my throat. However, politics play a huge role in some of my favorite movies, shows, and games, but those do not force feed it to me because it's part of a telling of a story, or in Helldivers' case, it's making fun of it. It's a satire. And what's even better is that the creator of Helldivers 2 just bluntly said, nah, we're not doing any of that. And my god, do I have mad respect for someone that won't bend the political knee and takes a firm stance to defend what he and his group of developers have created. And of course, with this kind of stance he took, more angry people took onto the internet by storm. Let's rewind here. Video games are supposed to be an escape from reality. I think it would just take away from the immersions if I saw a Helldiver with an American flag, or shit, even the British flag running around. I, for one, do not want any kind of flag cape. Okay, well maybe a Super Earth flag cape would be kind of badass, but getting back on track. To be even more blunt, leave Helldivers alone. It's a game that's supposed to be stupid and stupidly fun. We don't need any more political messages or imagery that the game has already given us. It's perfect. Plus, I think it would be offensive if any of those flags made its way into the game. Think about it for 1 second. A satirical game with an abundance of flags like LGBTQ, American, Britain, German, etc. for capes. What's your point, Snotrag? Here, let's take a look at the definition of satire, everyone. Satire is defined as the use of humor, irony, exaggeration, or ridicule to expose and criticize people's stupidity or vices, particularly in the context of contemporary politics and other topical issues. Yeah, so I don't think it would fly with the LGBTQ community or any other countries blatantly calling themselves stupid in a video game. Helldivers 2 is making fun of itself. That's the message it's trying to have its players understand. It's making fun of both Heinlein's original novel and Verhoeven's movie adaptation and executes it so well. Who knew satire could be so much damn fun? But wait, there's more. At the time of me making this video, more controversy around this game came out of the woodwork. And for those keeping up with current events, probably already know what we're going to be talking about here. Sony, Sony, made an announcement just only yesterday that in order for PC players to continue on playing Helldivers 2, they will need to have a PlayStation Network account in order to access the game.
Son of a bitch!
Yeah, things are just getting better and better in this video, huh? Yeah, starting May 6th, any new Helldivers players on PC will be required to create a PlayStation Network account. And come June 2024, all PC players will need an account to access the game. So here's the thing. Who in the actual hell in Sony thought,
Gee willikers, guys, this is such a great idea.
this is such an incendiary idea that the Steam community has gone on the store page of Helldivers and review bombed the liberty out of it as retaliation, which I don't think is fair for Arrowhead Studios at all. There are two sides to this controversy that I'll address. Firstly, a lot of people bring up the fact that an issue like this can be resolved by just creating the account, making the PC remember your passwords, and just forget about it. No fuss. Okay, that's a good point, sure. But I feel like it's kind of pointless because I don't even have a PlayStation, nor do I want one bad enough. So needing a third-party account just to play a game, kind of stupid if you ask me. And the second argument, fuck you, Sony. Yeah, this is literally a game killer, and you just might have killed one of the biggest national treasures to emerge for 2024. Let me explain. Yeah, okay, you need a PSN account to play the game. Okay, well, what about a vast majority of regions that cannot physically or digitally have an account? You heard that right. In some regions and territories around the globe, PSN accounts don't even exist. So now people who have had access to the game for more than 4 months already, now all of a sudden will no longer have access. Yeah, I'd be pissed too and demand a refund immediately. So congratulations, Sony. You done messed up big time, and I hope you take a few steps back to yourself soon. Otherwise, this game will be deader than Elvis. What about the possibility of the game being ported over to Xbox? Now you're saying Xbox players are going to need a PSN account to play the frickin' game? Good luck with that. So this concludes the video. Guys, I know that a lot of the arguments that I'm making with this video will have to be taken with a grain of salt, but this is my opinion on the matter of this game trying to save all of modern gaming. It's fun, it's addictive, it's funny. There's no hidden level-oriented gameplay locked behind BS microtransactions. There are microtransactions to get better guns, but you can have the option to avoid that just by grinding the game with sheer violence and freedom. It's all the things I've ever wanted in a sci-fi shooter to come out recently. And I know with the BS that Sony is pulling here, it's devastating to the player base. I stand by my statements in the video, and any hardcore fans of the game like me should also, just to keep supporting Arrowhead Studios' masterpiece. So thank you for watching, like and subscribe if you enjoy my content, and leave a comment for further discussions. So that's all, folks. Stay frosty.